Hi, welcome to Juice Bar. Today we're gonna mix a colony. So the Colony is an old cocktail, it's a Prohibition-era cocktail. I think the name comes from a club in New York City. It's some kind of gimlet or casino cocktail where you substitute the lemon juice for grapefruit juice. But let's get down to mixing. Sometimes actually this cocktail is called the Colonial, as for Hardy Craddock Savoy cocktail book. And his recipe is just 3 ingredients: maraschino, gin, and grapefruit juice. Now, I consider 2 more ingredients to be optional. One is simple syrup, and I'm not gonna use that today because I think this grapefruit, despite being yellow, they are not quite bitter, actually, quite the opposite. They are fairly sweet, so I'm not gonna need any simple syrup. The other optional ingredient is grapefruit bitters, and I'm gonna use them. They enhance the flavor. It's like doubling down on the grapefruit. And I just made this a couple of days ago, and I'm gonna tell you what I put it inside. I got 100 milliliter of 96% alcohol, which I think it's essential when you're dealing with citruses. Using a really high alcohol proof to steep in your peels. The really high alcohol extracts the flavor a lot better. So 96% alcohol, 100 milliliter, 50 grams of grapefruit peel, which was a lot, basically. They were overflowing. 1 gram of pink pepper, 5 grams of fresh ginger, 8 grams of lemon peel, 1 gram of cinnamon, and 0.3 grams of green cardamom, only the seeds. I ground the spices a bit, I put it in a jar, let it stay for a couple of days, then I filter everything. The thing is, these bitters are not just that, because I blended in some of my old grapefruit bitters, which weren't that great, but were a bit lighter, so I proofed it down a bit. Because when I tried to actually proof it down with water, whole air break loose. The large amount of essential oil makes it become cloudy right away, and as a result, these are probably 70% ABV, more or less. Anyway, 2 dishes of bitters. Then we go on with grapefruit juice. Why not? Let me give this a squeeze. So we're gonna need 22.5 milliliters or 3/4 of an ounce of grapefruit juice. Pink grapefruit juice is normally specified, but in this case, as I told you, these grapefruit from Japan are fairly sweet, so I'm fine. They are not too bitter or too sour. And then we go on with maraschino, 50 milliliter. And we end with gin, dry gin, and I'm gonna use it from the flask because I just went on a trip. And when we go on the trip, we bring a couple of flasks just to entertain ourselves at night. Most of the time, Japanese ryokan, Japanese hotel, they don't have a bar at all, or if they have it, it's not great quality, or if they have it, it's good quality, it's insanely expensive. So bringing your own flask to mix a quick aperitif before dinner is just the right thing to do. By the way, 45 milliliter of dry gin. Let's get some ice for our shaker. And let's give this bad boy a shake. Let's double strain in a cocktail glass. Chilled, of course. Let's express some more grapefruit peel. And this peel is just a bit too huge, I'm just gonna discard it. And there you go, a colony. By the way, the gin was the Tanqueray Bloomsbury I've been using lately. Cheers. Yeah, grapefruit and maraschino go great together. Delicious like this. Great. It's pretty tart, tiny bit astringent. The sweetness is right though. I tried it by adding like half a teaspoon of simple syrup and it wasn't as good as this. This is better mix. And what else to say? It's like a sour but grapefruity and just really, really nice. You can play around with the gin. Actually, that would be nice probably. My favorite gin for the gimlet is usually the Gin de Christian Drouin, which is made from a distillation of Calvados, so it has a bit of more apple, it's a bit more fruity, and that will match perfectly here too, I think. I use the standard dry gin, that's fine, but yeah, you can play around as you want. Experiment with the gin you like best. And I think you can have some really great results. So if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, comment down below, share with anybody you like and don't like. Shake yourself a grapefruit cocktail, and hopefully I will see you next time. Cheers! So Colony is a Joy Division song from the album Closer, and it's one of the most depressing songs in existence. I was reading the lyrics while listening to the music, and the only thing comparable in anguish level, I would say, is 100 Years by The Cure from their Pornography album. Yeah, man, it's not an easy listening. This ostinato rhythmic pattern between the drums and the bass that never changes. The guitar is dissonant, and there are the really intense lyrics by Ian Curtis, his haunting voice, and yeah, not the easiest listening, I would say, but it's a really good song, and it's based on the short story The Penal Colony by Franz Kafka, and I went to download it online and I read it, and the story, it's like a horror story. It's freaking insane. Taken at face value, it's kind of like a Cronenberg horror story where there is punishment involving a machine, and you get at the end of the story, you realize there is a deeper layer of religious meaning to it, probably related to the Old and New Testament, but it's still really upsetting. Wow, it's so brutal. I just suggest, if you like horror or really violent emotions, just search it. It's called The Penal Colony. You find it online. It's not even 20 pages. It's gonna take you half an hour to read it, and it's just cannot believe it was written so long ago, because it really reminds me of horror movies from the 80s onward. And actually, while the first two verses of a Colony song by Joy Division are probably based on some personal experience of young Curtis, or something that he was thinking he will have to face soon as he just became a father. He was just 22 or 23 at the time. Crazy life, and really short life. The last part of the song really reflects the religious reading of the Penal Colony story by Franz Kafka. So I suggest you read the story, you listen to the song, and then don't think of killing yourself. If you think of killing yourself, and here I'm gonna share some personal experience, talk to somebody. I was in my 30s when I went to a health check here in Japan, and they had questions about your mental health status, and they were like, do you ever think of killing yourself? I said, yeah, sure. And I go and talk to a psychologist, and it seems like a weird thing. I'm like, why? Everybody thinks about killing themselves all the time. Isn't it normal? It's not. It's not normal. So for me, it was like the time I went to an oculist and I was 25 or something, and he told me, "You're not seeing well." I'm saying, "I see perfectly. You have your results wrong." And it was the same thing with. I couldn't believe what the doctors were telling me that I was abnormal, but yeah, I was. So if you ever have some dark thoughts like that, just talk to people. And nowadays, therapy is less stigmatized in countries like even Japan and Italy, where it's still way behind what people in Nordic countries or US do. But really, just talk to somebody. There are social workers, talk to a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a friend, talk to somebody, because yeah, it's not worth having those thoughts all the time. Because you see, your life can always turn up for the better. You can turn up like me, drinking on YouTube as a job that makes you no money.